Good evening or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining us for yet another Dragon Warrior Randomizer match in the 2022 season. In this match, we do have two veterans of the community going up against each other. This is, of course, a vodcast. We do have Cyberdark86 out there in the chat, and going up against Big Slamu here. So 3-1 versus a 1-3. It's a pretty. I think that anything could happen in this match. Absolutely. As again, these are two very experienced veterans of the community, and as we just take a look at the stats, some of chat has already noticed these aren't super great. But I'm sure these two can figure out a way to get things started. And of course, my name is Lavkin. I will be bringing you the play-by-play action solo at the moment. And Venegas pushing the buttons. And Archfield Monk, of course, doing the restream. And we are going to go ahead and take off, get our message from the king. We do, of course, need to go beat up that Dragon Lord. He's been doing some evil things as of late. And we've got Bomberman and Purple Mario going out there and getting the thing done. They're going to pick up a little bit of gold here, and the Stones of Sunlight, of course, one of those required quest items, and find that magic key so that they can get out. And I imagine that they are both hoping for a town nearby so they can spend some of that money, maybe get themselves some offense. Oh, that's a lot of swamp, but fortunately they've got plenty of HP. They're going to make it to the town of Rimeldar, so that's going to be potential weapons and keys to ease the start of this particular seed. As Big Slamu first to check this shop here. Copper Sword is going to be pretty amazing, and I have to imagine both of our runners are going to be noting that Silver Shield that is available in that shop. Not making any of the smaller purchases here, as Big Slamu wants to save that money, obviously, for picking up keys. And Cyberdark, interestingly enough, going straight to that key shop and not checking the weapon shop first. I feel like it's a better idea to check the weapon shop first in this scenario, just to go ahead and get that potential copper sword or that potential hand axe. But again, not really a huge mistake either way. Obviously, there's potentially gold available in that Rimeldar Inn or in the Untitled Treasury. Oh dear, Big Slamu trying to paint the corners there, trying to stay out of that swamp and get some levels. Does see that there is the blue slime there in Zone 1, but that is definitely Zone 1, as otherwise we would not be seeing some of those tougher monsters. So maybe a little bit of a rough time trying to get off of level 1, despite having that weapon available. And definitely not going to be doing anything with regards to this blue dragon. So these zones are not being terribly friendly. However, Big Slamu does find some money, so we are going to have a gold grind as an option here, which again, you do have that silver shield, basically just a stone's throw away from start. So both of our runners here going to be pretty happy with that find. Also the magic key refund. And Cyberdark pointing out that he did, in fact, choose to run Strength Agility. Big Slamu going with the classic Strength HP. It's been pretty... the debate's never quite been settled. The majority of people in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer community do run Strength HP, but there are a few proponents for Strength Agility. There are arguments to go either way. Of course, with Strength Agility, you do get that higher defense stat and a little bit extra odds of running away from things, as well as, again, the higher defense stat is towards the end of the game, the better the repel and fairy water is going to do for you there. So everyone having checked the treasury, Cyberdark's going to head back here and go ahead and pick up that armor that both runners had initially declined to purchase. And so now we do have that kind of adventurer starter kit. As now Big Slamu the first to level 2, and there is, not only did they have the copper sword right there next door, but 14 power coming in at this level here, and Cyberdark also just right behind. Gonna go ahead and pick up level 2 for himself as well. And Big Slamu finding the Fairy Flute a Cursed Belt. Fairy Flute was in the Treasury, and Cursed Belt here in the Stones of Sunlight Cave. And I want to say this is Mountain Cave, but chat will probably correct me if I'm wrong here. Oh, and there's Hurtmore, so level 3 is going to pretty much break open the seed for both these runners. And chat noting that 20 power came along with it. Oh boy. Alright, well, the start looked like it was going to be pretty tough, but now we are pretty much off to the races here, and it really... Big Slamu, the longer it takes Big Slamu to get to level 3, the more he may potentially be behind here. Does manage to two-shot that Droll thanks to the large power boost at level 2, and even larger power boost at level 3, and then of course now both runners have access to that Hurtmore spell. And MP is a little bit lacking, so we're kind of going to be hoping for some of those higher quality targets as we move out onto the map here. Cyberdark, pretty content to just walk back and forth on these desert tiles. And yeah, chat pointing out that they did pick up, Cyberdark picked up the heal spell, as well as so we have both Outside and Return, so Princess Rescues are going to be a little bit easier if that's something our runners decide to do. And that heal spell is going to be helpful, especially just every time you have to leave Sharlock every time you leave Tantagel before getting that Erdrick's armor, you're just going to be taking just an annoying amount of damage, and it's always nice to know that you can just heal that up. So that's always going to be an option there. And now level 5, so doing the dedicated grind here, paying off a little bit in this early game for Cyberdark. And Big Slamu trying to get out on the map, but this blue dragon zone just right next to start, I mean, that's 3 encounters, 3 blue dragons. So that's going to be a little bit tough. The agility lagging a little bit behind for both of our runners. Oh gosh, and Demon Knight's here too. I'm not sure if Big Slamu is just trying to get back to this cave and maybe explore it a little bit more. Try to take advantage of that hurt spell. He did see a Warlock in there, which would be a pretty nice target. But just such nasty monsters, and not even monsters that you could potentially hurt more. Just absolutely nastiness in this zone here. Cyberdark now finding Hawk's Nest. This could be a nice zone for experience and could also be a pretty beneficial spike tile. Depending on what's here, we could see an early key item pickup. Oh, deal 2 breath from the Metal Slime, and Axe Knight on the spike tile. We've got early Hurtmore. Alrighty, we're going to see some levels flying in here. Cyberdark now already level 6. 4032, not the greatest level ever. And there is the token. So 2 quest items already picked up by Cyberdark here. And again, alright, so good rolls here. It is not guaranteed that you're going to one-shot Axe Knight with Hurtmore. It's about a 50-50. But that's 2 quick levels here picked up, and that is going to be another Hurtmore in the back pocket of Cyberdark. So let's have to see, does Cyberdark immediately choose to come back? And Big Slamu taking down a nice big target. I missed what that was, but something is actually feasible to kill here in this zone that Big Slamu has been just trying to get through, just trying to make some progress here in this mountain cave. We really have not seen anything yet by way of chests. Big Slamu, though, just about hero walking his way. Oh, if only he had a little bit more MP, and confirmed DL2 from Armored Knights. That is not good news for our runners. Town of Breckenary close by for Cyberdark, so we want to see here. Unfortunately, nothing too great in the way of gold grind items, but we could potentially do a slow grind to come back for that half plate and hand axe. That would be a nice set of pickups. You always like to have a little bit of extra attack power in your back pocket for things that Hurtmore doesn't easily take down, things like wizards or Shadow Knights or Red Dragons, of course, in the late game, things of that nature. It is nice to have a good weapon on hand for those battles. And again, continuing to expand that experience lead here is Cyberdark. Yes, Shadow Knights do, in fact, equal Demon Knights. I always think of their Japanese name, which is Kage no Kishi, literally, Shadow Knight. But yeah, Demon Knights is what they are referred to in English. As Cyberdark going to go ahead and top off that MP. And now Big Slamu, for the first time, will head south here, has decided the Armored Knights are a little bit too much to chew on here, so we're going to see what we can see. I don't think Cyberdark has been this way yet either. Maybe a little bit of a virtual high five here. I'm not sure if this is the way that Cyberdark went to find Breckenary. But right now, really the only difference between our runners so far is that Big Slamu has not yet found that Hawksnest town yet. We'll need to find that eventually for that token. And here comes level 8. Another gigantic power boost, 16,115. So not only do we get that power boost, but we also get yet another Hurtmore in that back pocket. And yes, in the past I did do a fair amount of Dragon Quest I Super Famicom speedruns. So yeah, sometimes I mix up the names a little bit, but not too big a deal. Interesting map design here, Big Slamu finding his way across several bridges. Sometimes it can be tricky to even see whether or not something connects if you can get to that landmass. So you see these weird corner generations here. And hopefully there's something out here for Big Slamu to find. It would be nice to perhaps find Cantlin, pick up those coordinates, find that swamp cave, maybe consider an early princess rescue. But unfortunately, all that is in the immediate future for Big Slamu is a trip back to start. And both of our runners pretty much trying to take that south path here. And Cyberdark's going to be the first to find more or less every town, it seems. I do believe this is a new town here for Cyberdark, beelining towards it. And, well, alrighty. Caster's Blessing, perhaps. Cyberdark does stumble upon the town of Cantlin. Not a whole lot to do here. Maybe could check for that flame sword or that magic armor. But instead, just going to go ahead and buy some sundries here. I have to imagine maybe pick up some herbs, maybe pick up that dragon scale, and obviously going to want to top off that MP at the inn before going and checking those coordinates. And Ziggy7Z with the raid, thank you so much for that raid. We really appreciate it. anyone coming in from Ziggy Stream, we do have this match here. This is a vodcast, a previously run race. Community veterans Big Slamu and Cyberdark86 going up against each other here. And so far, there is a bit of an experience gap, as Cyberdark was the first to get to level 3 and get that Hurt More spell. And Talo, 6 strength was the start here with no spells to speak of. But fortunately, both runners were able to get themselves a copper sword at the start, as well as lots of strength boosts. I mean, as you can see, in the 7 levels between start and now for Cyberdark, we have gotten 66 power. So yeah, rough start, but things have progressed here pretty quickly for both of our runners. And Golem sighting here from Cyberdark. It's always kind of nice to see a Sharlock enemy with that weak fire. Once they pick up that Erdrick's armor, they're just going to be shrugging that off completely. So if ever they need to fight a Golem, they'll know that it shouldn't be too hard. Axe Knight with Sleep in Hawksness. Is this even randomized? I'm not too terribly sure. Of course, we do know that the armor is not here, as it would be in vanilla. But now Big Slamu is going to pretty much even things up here. Getting that level 8, going to go ahead and pick up that token. And I'm a little surprised that Cyberdark did not choose to stick here a little bit longer. I would consider, personally, staying until maybe heal more, or at least a little bit more agility, as the agility is still a bit lacking. 40 is about the value that I would be most comfortable going out on, as that is when you are a 50-50 chance to run from anything Blue Dragon and weaker. But the exploration paying off, is a lot of things here close to start. Of course, we did have Rimmaldar close to start, so everyone has access to keys, and so we can just go ahead and see what is in the back of Garenham. We have some cash, an herb, and some fairy water. So nothing too consequential, but we haven't seen too many caves so far, so one guaranteed cave in the back here to see what it is. Alrighty, Tablet Cave, 1 free chest. We do have that outside spell, so this won't take too long. You can just go ahead and cross that off your to-do list. Whatever's down here. And more cash money. So that, I believe, is 4 money chests that we've seen so far. One of them is in the treasury, so again, we do have that gold grind option available, which I'm a little bit surprised that Cyberdark didn't choose to check the Cantland shops just to see whether or not there might have been magic armor or flame sword, things of that nature. But again, just trying to be as efficient on time as possible. Can always check those things later. You can always do a blind gold grind all the way up to the maximum value, and Cantland does not seem to be too far away. Rainbow Drop Cave sighting for Cyberdark. We affectionately call that the Jerk Cave. If you talk to that old man and you do not have the token, he will go ahead and boot you right on out of there. And now Swamp Cave here. And let's see, do we just go right on through, or do we check that spike tile? Oh, and Big Slamu has come back to the mountain cave, and I missed what was in that top chest. Didn't look like... Oh, so we have that harp now. And so now Big Slamu has all of the required items. Of course, does need to turn in that harp and find that jerk. And oh no! maybe could have just taken out that wolf with the hurt more, wanted to save that for a bigger target, and unfortunately pays the price. Will, I believe, orphan at least one chest, if not two. And that's just a feels bad moment, because you kind of assume in around 33 agility you would have a pretty decent chance at running away from that werewolf. So a bit unlucky, but we do have that gold grind. The chest glitch is active for Big Slamu. And now it just remains to be seen how high Big Slamu will go. Not many towns seen as of yet. That Cantlin location is unknown, so I wouldn't be surprised if Big Slamu stopped at Silver Shield money, but might want to pick up a little bit more. I mean, I don't know if I would stand around and make small talk, but I don't think I would just give him the boot, you know? And, well, this is just incredibly convenient for Big Slamu. I'm not sure if our runners had already checked this or not, but Big Slamu now going to go ahead and trade in that harp, pick up that Staff of Rain, and we know the Jerk is close by. We haven't seen Sharlock yet, but that rainbow drop not too far away here, and Cyberdark, of course, does need to go back into that mountain cave in order to make progress here, and now pretty much went up to Silver Shield money, has a little bit of money left over for keys or herbs or things of that nature. Can stop at the inn here, could even just grab that gold chest in the inn for a little bit more gold, if Big Slamu so chose. But in any case, Silver Shield is in hand, providing the lion's share of that 36 defense power that he currently has. And, well, there it is. Cyberdark picking up that harp. I imagine he already knows where that turn-in cave is, and does have, again, just a slight advantage in information here, knowing where that rainbow drop cave is. We'll be able to pick that up pretty much at any time. And we see some gold here. I believe that leaves just one last chest here to pick up that Big Slamu orphaned earlier. Let's see if this is of any big importance. So the two major locations, at least in terms of items, that I do not believe we have seen yet. Cole, potentially having a free item just sitting there in the grass. And, of course, the grave with those three chests at the top, and then both of our runners have to decide whether or not they want to dive. I think at this point you don't, unless you're thinking maybe if you come across coal first and there's no item, maybe there's no coordinates, you start wondering whether or not Erdrick's sword or armor might be down there in the grave. Maybe you consider diving at that point, but still a lot of information waiting to be found before we make decisions like that. And Cyberdark, having satisfied, cleared out everything in Mountain Cave, looked like just walking back and forth, just saying, "Hey, something come kill me. I wanna go do my gold grinds." Anything? Anyone? Oh, this is the worst. Green Dragons also with that weak fire attack, just like in Vanilla, and obliges Cyberdark86 with an exact damage. Maybe could have won that race and picked up a little bit of experience, gotten a little bit closer to level 10. But again, we'll be content here just to start that gold grind. And again, with knowledge of where Caitlin is, it'll be interesting to see if Cyberdark is thinking about checking those weapon shops, or if he just wants to get that silver shield and move on. Worth noting now that Big Slimu has taken the experience lead for the first time in this match, finding some good hurt more targets, and again, neither of our runners choosing to spend any extra time in Hawksness. I mean, I have to imagine that's the go-to destination towards the end of the seed, but for now, both runners prioritizing that exploration first. And Cyberdark, it's an interesting amount of money. I have to imagine Broadsword Full Plate Silver Shield is the play here. Or at least the intended play, kind of the idea. Saving that money, wanting to pick up that Silver Shield, and then try to get back towards Caitlin for those extra purchases. And Cole found here for Big Slamu. Oh, there's that broadsword and half plate. You'd love to have that combo, especially not having any armor yet, but just not enough money. And confirming that there is no item on the ground in Cole, and chat mentioning 2 cursed belts means that there are definitely coordinates. There is something out on that map. Just need to go talk to the old man in Cantlin to find out where it is. I don't think I've seen that one before. That's pretty great. The gold grind glitch on the Staff of Rain chest. Seems like we may have gotten an item that we didn't quite want. Heal More picked up at level 10 by Big Slamu. So that is going to be a welcome sight. As again, this is kind of the point in the seed where you can start considering taking on some of the monsters that you might not be able to hurt more so easily. Maybe you want a little bit more HP to be a little bit more confident in that. In Big Slamu's case, you might like to have some armor. But again, just having that in your back pocket is always going to be nice. Is that HP is... you can always heal yourself up to full if you want to. Their HP being what it is currently. And oh dear, first Red Dragon sighting, I do believe, for Cyberdark86, and we now confirm that both of the red monsters in Sharlock have the DL2 breath. So this could come down to who has the better Sharlock. Who comes out of Sharlock saying, oh, there were reds there? I think that's going to be the person who wins. A little bit of foreshadowing, potentially. And so we do see that broadsword pickup and the silver shield pickup here for Cyberdark. The money being what it is, I wonder if I didn't potentially miss a full plate or half plate purchase. But in any event, we are going to make the walk across these barrier tiles towards this old man to pick up the coordinates. Pretty much the last bit of information that we need. Grave could still be important. And wow. 28 north and 4 to the east. I don't think that's going to be a completely straightforward count, but I also... doesn't seem like we're going to be rescuing that princess anytime soon. Just remains to be seen here. Can we go far enough north? Not too sure. Cyberdark seems convinced that this is countable, is carefully making those steps north. And we can actually just, from here, pretty much just go 4 east if we want to, but no, we're going to just keep pinning ourselves to that coast. Want to make sure that we know exactly where we are here. And it looks like we're just going to make it far enough north, and there it is, Erdrick's armor on the map, not in Sharlock. That is what you like to see. That does leave, if I am not mistaken, 12 chests that the sword could be in. Potentially in the grave, potentially in Sharlock. We do have access to both, just need to find them. Both of our runners having the ability to pick up that rainbow drop, could potentially take that early dive into Sharlock, look for that sword. And indeed, holding off on the armor purchase pays off here, as now Cyberdark has the 2 best defensive pieces in the game. And so just needs to find that Erdrick sword and will be pretty much ready to move on to the endgame. I believe this, oh, nope, just a few experience short here. I was looking at Big Slamu potentially picking up level 11. But we'll go ahead and refill those resources, which is always nice. So again, when you have that Hurtmore Seed, anytime you can take a Death Warp after running out of MP, just means that you're going to be continuing to pick up experience while exploring, if I can get both of those words out. And unfortunately, these metal slimes, I mean, you would love to try to plink one down and get a little bit of experience, but when they have that deal 2 breath, even Erdrick's armor makes it a little bit hard to make that choice, makes it a little bit hard to commit. They have the Heal More spell as well. What is this? I don't know if they would ever necessarily use it. Maybe if you get 2 damage in on them, you don't quite crit. Maybe they would consider using it then. That would be quite nasty, but I think we're unlikely to see that in this particular race. And I missed Big Slamu picking up level 11, but we can go ahead and just compare those stats pretty much across the board here. 8, looks like 8, 1, 10, 3, something along those lines, give or take a few, just because of the difference in builds. Big Slamu now finding Cantlin, and so of course Will. Slamu bought chainmail, and will be upgrading once again shortly. I have to imagine we'll probably just take this death warp, and again, we saw on Cyberdark's screen this count is not difficult at all. Will choose to walk out of here. Maybe wants to go top off herbs at the Sundry's shop here in town. And if I am not mistaken, there are pretty much just 2 locations left that our runners need to find. Sharlock, obviously, 100% required. The grave might be required. Just depends on whether the sword is in there or not. And so just continuing to paint the edges of the map is Cyberdark. Again, just 2 locations left to find. 35 minutes into this race, it looked like things could have been nasty, as we did start with just 6 power, no spells, no help in the throne room. Aside from some gold, unfortunately, Rimbledar was right nearby, so both runners were able to pick up a copper sword. Level 2 brought 14 power, level 3 brought hurt more, and we were pretty much off to the races from there. Cyberdark doing a bit of a loop around the map and finds himself back at the Rainbow Drop Cave, so hey, why not go ahead and turn that in now? Interesting decision here, Big Slamu choosing to go check what was on the spike tile, maybe considering a princess rescue. Not terribly necessary in this seed, but, you know, sometimes you just want to make sure that you want to check the other spike tile, see if it's any good, and then maybe just make it a little bit easier to find that item out on the map. Now, I'm not sure how much of this second continent that we've seen this far. I know Cyberdark came here once earlier on, and might have been a little bit more convenient for Big Slamu to have already found Urzic armor, as we do have quite a bit of swamp to contend with here. But, of course, the exploration must go on. And there's Sharlock, so we confirm that it is on the second continent here. And it does seem that the first continent is pretty small so far. And if we have seen all of it, maybe a little bit to the southwest is yet to be seen, maybe a little bit to the northwest. Our runners were having a bit of a tough time getting past the blue dragons to get that way, but I have to imagine the likeliest place for that grave would be somewhere in the vicinity of Sharlock, or just on this continent in general. Cyberdark now making his way through the making his way through the swamp cave. That does seem to point to this side of Tantagel as the place where we will find our progression. Again, just need to confirm where that sword is. That is pretty much the last thing. I mean, Big Slammy doesn't know yet that the armor is on the search tile, but just wanted to get that exploration in. And already putting the rainbow drop down is Cyberdark. Just going to head in. Nope, just going to go ahead and put that down and walk away. And is that a super small second landmass? It does appear that both continents are pretty small compared to the average. But we still have a few edges, a few coastlines that have yet to have been found. Yeah, that's right. Cyberdark noting that he has not found coal yet. Now, of course, we know that coal does not have any items. Nothing of importance there. Big Slimy would confirm that earlier. Big Slimy now looking for level 12. We had a virtual tie here in terms of experience. And now we're going to see what level 12 brings. Could use some more MP, could use some more HP, a little more agility. Any one of those things would be kind of nice here. 3, 4... 3, 8. Not too impactful in any event. And yeah, so pretty much from the combined information from both of our runners, I mean, Grave is really the hot spot at this point. Of course, the sword could be in Sharlock, but in a situation like this, you do kind of want to check off at least the top of the Grave. You kind of want to see that before trying to make a hero run through Sharlock. But again, the longer it takes, the more nervous you tend to get. In a seed like this, where Hurtmore comes so early, and the map is so small, and you've got two community veterans here, you look at the record, and you can't really tell too much. You could have some bad beats. You you could have essentially rivered your opponent, so to speak, at the very end. And so you can't really count anybody out at any stage. You just wonder, man, I've just been combing this map, and I'm looking for this one location. And did my opponent find that location 20 minutes ago or not? As Cyberdark now evening up these levels here. Big Slam took the experience lead right around, I want to say about 15 or so minutes ago, and has held it ever since. Big Slam noting that Cyberdark's 3 losses were a total of 10 minutes difference. So that's barely a single Sharlock dive across 3 races. Again, as I mentioned, bad beats are always a thing that can happen. I do believe we saw one earlier today, in fact, dueling DL2 fights. Always exciting for the runners, and always a bit of a heartbreak for... exciting for the viewers, heartbreak for the runners. Anytime you take down that Dragon Lord and then you see the dot done, just terrible. Appreciate the raid, Karant. Welcome in, everybody, to this vodcast of a Dragon Warrior Randomizer race that happened previously. Big Slam and Cyberdark going up against each other here. We are pretty darn close to go mode, both of our runners. You see there, they've got that Airjix armor, they've got that silver shield. Cyberdark has already put down the bridge. Big Slam just needs to find the jerk for the drop, and then we gotta find that sword. Strength not quite high enough to try to take out the Dragon Lord with an axe or a broadsword. And Talo, not to my knowledge, but I have not watched as many races as other people. Big Slam is saying less than a second has happened. I know in the tournament format, if it's determined that's less than a second, then we do have those tiebreakers. And I want to say we've had at least one tiebreaker race in the last couple of years, especially as we add more and more people into the mix. The odds, and as people get more and more experience in the randomizer, the chance for very close finishes only goes up. My goodness, Cyberdark now deciding that this is the time to go ahead and pick up some of those levels, get closer to not grind and go, but go mode, and back attack sleep, and just hacked into pieces. It's just really unfortunate. Now, Hawksnest isn't terribly far away from start, so we could just go right on back, but always a little bit frustrating to have that happen, especially when you just came in with full resources. You're like, okay, I'm just going to go pick up a level, and then the Axe Knight says no. Well, there's something useful. We haven't seen a big stat boost for the last few levels, and yeah, Zhoof noting in chat, when your agility has been not super great for a while now, you get that 24 boost up to 73. Now we do see that in green. Defense power also in the green, so we are already looking at some... You can swing in the Dragon Lord fight at as long as you're 49 or above. You'll be completely safe. Even 48. I want to say at 48, you're probably about a 1 in 8 to die from there, or 1 in 16. Something, one of those two numbers is correct. And of course, we still have a long way to go before either of our runners are ready to face the Dragon Lord. So you hope that your agility is only going to go up from here. I want to say this is new territory here on Cyberdark86's stream as Big Slimer goes ahead and picks up that chest that he orphaned out of Mountain Cave about half an hour or so ago. And, again, the grave, that's it. We're just looking for a cave that we haven't seen before. That is going to be our ticket to no mode at the very least, if not go mode. Oh dear, unlucky with those damage rolls, trying to save the resources. And sent back to start instead. Just trying to cut those corners a little bit, and sometimes unfortunate things happen. Yeah, Juf in chat noting the difference in HP is, of course, we do have Cyberdark running Strength Agility and Big Slammer running Strength HP, and that is one of the potential downsides to, I would say, the biggest potential downside to running Strength Agility is that you might actually need to grind an extra level in order to be comfortable in your DL2 fight. I know that one person I know at least is Ness Cardinality flat out refuses to run Strength Agility just because that scenario happened to him. He had to grind an extra level, ended up losing a race, and now is pretty much only Strength HP. But again, as far as community-wide, the debate has yet to be settled. Probably never will be settled. Because, again, I would say for a while we were pretty much stuck on Strength HP just because until Repel in Dungeons was introduced. And then that's when Strength Agility kind of came back into vogue as that 10% agility can give you a little bit of extra defense power. You could be repelling a few more things in Charlock, have that cleaner dive. But, again, still a kind of a minority. A little bit of a minority choice. We have, of course, I don't know if it's happened this year or even last year, if it's happened recently at all, but there have been situations where if the starting strength is really, really bad, some people do like to reset and go HP MP just to get that +2 strength at the start. But that is pretty rare here, and Cyberdark did hit 14. So just looking here, it looks like we got about 6 agility, quite a bit of HP. MP still not where we'd want it to be, but that defense power at 92, we're repelling quite a bit of Charlock at this point, a decent amount. Question in chat, is there anything left to find for Slamu? We are still looking for the sword, and so needing to find that grave, which Big Slamu has in fact found, is the first to find a grave, so will be the first to be in no mode. No, Wakai no Tensai, it is not guaranteed to be in Charlock. It could be in the grave. So it can be in any chest, it can be on the map in one of the search spots, but we have cleared all the search spots, so we know it's in a chest, which means it could be here in the grave. So we do need to clear this out, and then we will know, either it's going to be in our hand or it's going to be in Charlock, and then we will just be grind and go from that point onward. And yeah, of course, in a situation like this, you can try to play the odds. They are slightly in the favor of Charlock, as you've got 7 chests there versus the 5 in the grave. I don't know what that math works out into my head. Probably like 60-40, something like that, 55-45. So again, not a huge huge difference in odds, but if you are frustrated and trying to find that grave, and you know you've got this Axe Knight grind, super easy grind here, you're going to get those levels really, really quick. It's kind of hard to want to stay out on the map for, looking for that one single location. And so, unfortunately, diving the grave here doesn't turn up anything for Big Slamu, and so that puts the odds at 7-0. Cyberdark, of course, does not know this, but was banking on it, and it turns out that will pay dividends here as, while Big Slamu... Again, this is the fear. While Big Slamu is on the map, Cyberdark picks up a near 2,000 experience point lead. That's going to be a bit... I mean, it's just impossible to overcome, as both of our runners now are just at the point where it's grind and go. And so, basically, Big Slamu pretty much has to hope for a failed dive, or maybe a questionable level. Or, I mean, it could also just come down to the sleep luck here, is quite a bit of MP still left for Cyberdark. In fact, that was full resources. It just used the one hurt more, went back to sleep. And these are the kind of things that can turn a race here. If one player gets slept more than the other, maybe Big Slamu could make up that lead. And yes, of course, there is that DL2 breath to contend with. We know that AK-47s have it. We know the Fun Police have it. And both of our runners know that they could be in for a world of hurt in Charlock. But before then, we need to get quite a few levels here. Right now, we are looking at 130 attack power. 130 attack power with that sword. So, decent attack power, but the MP, it's pretty bad. That's pretty much the stat that we're looking for right now. Taking a look at the Axe Knight stats here. 50% sleep. Means that you're not guaranteed to see it on any one fight. But of course, we have seen our fair share of it. Big Slamu getting slept as he ran out of resources. And Cyberdark here, I mean, again, it really just comes down to what does that Axe Knight want to do? Pretty much in his power here. Is he going to pick down Cyberdark? No, not quite. Potentially take down 2 more of these things with the resources available. So in approximately 1,400 experience difference here between our 2 runners as Cyberdark takes this death. We'll have to see how much that gap closes by the time Cyberdark gets back to the grind. So as Big Slamu watches this level up text, it will be an approximately 1,300 and change gap here. So Cyberdark's going to go ahead. Well, I thought Cyberdark was going to kill this Axe Knight, but no. This Axe Knight being incredibly rude here. So for those who don't know, as we watch our runners take on these Axe Knights, one of the more interesting things that kind of goes on in the background of this game, and I want to say this is true for the entire Dragon Quest series. It may have changed at some point down the line, but enemies in Dragon Quest do not spawn. Well, they can spawn with their max HP, but they generally don't. They generally spawn anywhere between 80% and 100% of that max HP. And so that's where things get a little bit interesting in situations like this, because when you consider the HP range of the Axe Knight, which I don't know off the top of my head, I want to say it's 59 to 70 or something along those lines. And then you consider the damage range of Hurtmore, which I believe is 58 to 65. When you take all of those values into account, you get almost exactly a coin flip chance of one-shotting an Axe Knight with a Hurtmore. And so, obviously, the more times that comes up heads for you, then the more times, the more efficient you're going to be in your grind overall, as 4-3-17-2 for Cyberdark. And taking some notes here, taking a look at those stats, 135 with the sword, but that MP just not quite enough. The agility is getting to the place where you feel really comfortable on the dive. 87, you're, I want to say, about 45% chance, somewhere to 48% chance to run away from Armored Knights and Red Dragons. But you might want a bit of an extra buffer here. Both of our runners talking about 9 or 10 heal mores. You want to have something in your back pocket just in case you get held up by one of those nastier enemies on your dive. And of course, that 80% to 100% value just, it's not just Axe Knights, it's everything. So red dragons, blue dragons, the Dragon Lord himself can spawn with a random amount of HP. I'm actually, now that I think about it, I have to imagine this is the case. We know that the Dragon Lord 2, his HP is fixed for both of our runners. I'm not sure if Dragon Lord 1's HP is fixed. Obviously, as they continue to fight these Axe Knights, their HP is going to vary from fight to fight. But, yes, Slamu did find the grave, had nothing in it. Slamu has found cold. Cyberdark has found neither of these locations, but is basically just banking on Sword and Charlock, and we know that that's exactly where it is. So, Big Slamu at least is in no mode, and Cyberdark is in, I guess you would call it hope mode. Yes, Deal 2 does have a range. What I meant earlier is that whatever DL2 rolls in that range is going to be the same for both runners, as they are playing the same seed. So, for example, if it's 158 HP, then that's going to be true for both runners. So the MP, the MP advantage here for Cyberdark going into this grind, again, Big Slime had noted in chat before, Cyberdark having about 3 hurt mores available over Big Slamu, has opened up this experience lead, opened up this experience gap just a little bit. It's 1300 right now, but Big Slamu is going to have to refresh the resources, and so it's gonna get also watching this level text, and so we'll need to hand a little bit of XP over to Cyberdark, closing in on level 17. Oh dear, Cyberdark is tantalizingly close to, could have potentially gotten level 17 on the resources he had remaining, and unfortunately will come up just short. That sleep spell just continuing to play a role here in this grind. Absolutely brutal. Yeah, Venegas noting that Slamu appears to have abandoned the grind and is making his way towards Sharlock now. This again is where this HP difference does kind of come into account, as Big Slamu being a level behind Cyberdark, nevertheless has more HP, 126, could count on quite a few potential doubles. So this is very much possible here for Big Slamu. Full up on Fairy Water. Going to likely be using that for repel purposes. Yes, that is exactly what Big Slamu is going to do. I believe we are repelling... I believe it's werewolves, star wyverns, and wizards. And so about a little less than half of the Sharlock Bestiary is going to not be seen on this particular dive, guaranteed, unless, of course, Big Slamu runs out of Fairy Water, but should not on this dive. Well, this is about as close as it gets. Both of our runners now in Sharlock. They do need to find that sword, so it'll be interesting to see if either of our runners chooses to check the judges' table first. Of course, this is the opportunity now for chat to get their bets in as to where that sword is. Big Slamu bypassing judges' table, going to go straight to that treasury. One of these days, I'm going to learn which of these chests is which value. I do believe that is the $50 chest and the $100 chest that the sword and fighter's ring were in. Fighter's ring actually quite a nice pickup for Big Slamu on top of that sword. Going to give you, I believe it's about 0.35 extra damage or something along those lines per swing. Always nice to have 2 extra attack power there. And 150 for the sword, so Artorias 308 unfortunately wins absolutely nothing, but a little bit of pride was the first to get that guess in. And, oh dear, Red Dragon on the spike tile. Now, they have Deal 2 Breath, but they do have Stop Spell as well, which is going to do basically nothing, as we do have, of course, that Erdrick's armor, and taking it down in 3 swings is Big Slamu. Full resources here going into the Dragon Lord fight. Will get there first. Left the grind early. One level behind Cyberdark, but more HP. And this could be a little bit dicey. Again, really need some doubles here in order to be comfortable in this fight. Defense breaking DL1, gonna make short work of this here. 2 attacks, that's exactly what you want to see. It is dragons, and more dragons here on your screen. Red Dragon for Cyberdark, Dragon Lord for Big Slamu. And 14 damage here. I did not see if it was a back attack. So right now, 14 damage is the count that I have. Physical out of Dragon Lord 1 or Dragon Lord 2 will get the double here. 29 damage, I want to say. Okay, no back attack, so I have completely lost my count here. 15 here, getting decent rolls here, swinging for, I believe, 9 to 18 is the range. And pretty much right down the middle here for Big Slamu. And here comes another double here. I mean, we must be halfway through this fight now, and Cyberdark still on DL1, getting those hurt mores. My goodness, this is going to be incredibly close here, this finish. 15 damage here. And really just chopping down this Dragon Lord one swing at a time. Really, again, hoping for a couple more doubles. I want to say we've seen one double here besides the start of the fight, but a little bit tough to say. And maybe some tough decisions here to be made. And there it is. Big Slamu made the call to go for it on 16. Cyberdark fought his way down on level 17. One of those extra stats, hoping for that extra heal more to make up for the lack of HP. And instead, it is going to be Big Slamu seizing victory right out from under Cyberdark. Could go ahead and move on to 4-1. And we will pop over to the erasetime.gg chat room just to get that official SRL time. Did I say SRL? I'm at erasetime.gg. I've been around way too long in this community. 122.05 is going to be that final finishing time for Big Slamu. And not too much further behind will be Cyberdark86. This is, again, the second simultaneous DL2 fight I've seen today alone. So an exciting day of races for both of our runners as we take a look at that post-credits stat screen for Big Slamu. I have to imagine we're going to be seeing approximately 1,000 Axe Knight kills between both of our runners. $35 Axe Knights killed for Big Slamu, and I have to imagine that it's going to be I want to say it's going to be a few more for Cyberdark86. It can't be too much more, but I would be curious to see if we do have that on the VOD, what the difference is between Axe Knight kills. Plenty of bonks here. 301, we were kind of meaning about the bonks before. That is quite a lot of bonks. We do see here that Big Slamu also had a few more deaths in Cyberdark86. Some of that came pretty early on as Big Slamu was trying to go northwest towards the early part of the match and was getting foiled by blue dragons. And other than that, while we wait for those post-credits to load, we will... Just one last reminder for everybody in chat, if you are not following Big Slamu or Cyberdark86, please go ahead and drop a follow on them. Of course, this is a vodcast, but they still put on a wonderful show for you here this afternoon or evening, depending on where you are, what time zone you are in. And of course, go ahead and drop follow on the folks doing the things behind the scenes. Archfield Monk tirelessly bringing you all of these restreams. Venicus pushing the buttons on that tracker, letting you know what items they have and have not found. And myself, Lavkian, doing the solo last minute cast here. Love bringing the commentary to the action. And we are going to be bringing another match to you in short order here. Not going to quite roll into it just yet, I don't believe. But 8 o'clock Eastern, about 20 minutes from now, we are going to have yet another match for you here, right here on the Dragon Warrior Randomizer channel. But until then, let's see if I can draw this commentary out long enough to see just how many bonks and axe knights we had on Cyberdark86's side. Yeah. Intro screen and music roll, 17 minutes. It's pretty standard. Thank you, Mike. I was looking for the schedule because I did not know off the top of my head exactly where we were at. 148 bonks to 301. I am actually genuinely curious. I want to say that's about 16 frames per bonk as you have to change direction again after hearing the sound. I almost wonder if whether or not that's a significant time loss there. But in any event, that is going to do it for this broadcast. But do not go anywhere, as again, we are going to have Mand versus Billick and Hangry Canuck versus Z-Man. Quad race action coming your way just about 15 minutes from now. And so once again, big shout outs to Cyberdark, MG, and Big Slam, who put on a wonderful race. Going to go to 3-1 and 1-4, unfortunately. Archfield Monk, myself, and Venicus, thanks again so much for watching this podcast. And of course, if you out there in the audience have been watching all of these races and have not yet joined our wonderful growing community, we will have a link to that Discord in chat. All you got to do is click it. All you got to do is get in here. You could be the next Cyberdark. You could be the next Big Slamu, having a bunch of fun in these races, in these tournaments. There are plenty of people willing and ready to help you get set up with everything from rolling your first seed to playing in your first race. You got to click that link. You got 15 minutes before the next race starts. If you haven't clicked the link, go do it. Otherwise, have a nice night. Thank you so much for watching. More action coming your way shortly. Have a great night, everybody.